This is a review on the Mindshift Backlight 36L camera backpack for wildlife photography. I bought this pack after purchasing a 500 f4 lens and realizing that it didn't fit in my other camera bag. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing how I fit my wildlife photography gear in this bag and why I believe that this camera bag is a really great bag for wildlife photographers, especially if you're looking for a good bag that'll fit your big prime lens in it, but isn't ridiculously oversized and bulky. So let's start by talking about the build of this bag. This thing is really well built and very durable and can withstand a heavy amount of travel and use. As you can see, it's got some very thick sides made of durable material and really heavy duty zippers that you can feel when you're zipping them up are absolute top quality. On top of that, it's built with a flat bottom, which allows this thing to stand up on its own, and even when you bump it and push it around, it doesn't topple over very easily, which is really great because when you have such expensive gear in this bag, you definitely don't want it toppling over. And it's really nice that you don't have to lean it up or anything like that. You can just set it down and you can trust that it's going to sit because it's got that nice flat sturdy bottom to it, which is a really great feature of this pack. It's also a really nice size. It is a little bit large because it is 36 liters, but despite its larger size, it still manages to feel like an average size backpack and rides comfortably on your back without much issue or without it feeling oversized or too heavy or anything like that. It's also very comfortable. As you can see, you've got this nice thick padding on the back and also on the waist straps and the shoulder straps that ensure that even when you've got this thing loaded down with gear, it isn't going to be uncomfortable and it's going to ride nicely on your back. Plus, with that waist strap and with the chest strap that goes between the two shoulder straps, a lot of the weight is put on your hips as opposed to your shoulders, which makes carrying this pack around a lot easier. I should also note that this pack is small enough that it can actually be used as a carry-on. So if you're flying anywhere for wildlife photography, such as Alaska, maybe you want to go up to Alaska and photograph bears, then this pack is going to work really well for that because you can carry it on and ensure that you're not having to check your gear, and then obviously it's in the hands of the people at the airport, and there's obviously risk of damage in that case. And on that note, speaking of photographing Alaskan bears, let me interject here to remind you all that I'm going to be giving away a free trip to Alaska where you and I will go to Lake Clark National Park to photograph coastal Alaskan brown bears when I hit 10,000 subscribers. All you have to do for a chance to enter is be a subscriber to the channel, and then when I hit 10K, I'm going to select a winner. Next, moving on to the interior, you can see that this bag can actually fit a 500 f4 with a camera body on it in the bag, which is really nice. I think if you have a 600 f4, you're going to struggle to do that a little bit more. I really don't think you're going to fit a 600 in here with the body on it. But if you're shooting a 500 or a 400 2.8, then it's going to be able to fit in here, which is awesome. And even with that big prime lens and a camera body on it, you can see that you still have a lot of extra room in here. I've got this entire space over here to the side where I can store, you know, batteries, lens cloths, a rain cover, stuff like that. And if you want to pull all that out and pull the dividers out as well, you can actually fit a telephoto zoom in there, like the 100 to 400 if you're a Canon shooter, which is really awesome because then you're able to carry both your big prime lens and your telephoto zoom in the same bag. That way, when you're out shooting wildlife, you're able to cover a vast range of focal lengths and have all of them right there in your bag, which is something that can't be done with most camera bags and is a major plus of this bag for wildlife photographers. On top of that, you can see that you do have some zippered pockets in here if you want to use those as well. And you've got this elastic cord here that can go around your neck and allow you to kind of hold this backpack up and access the interior without actually taking the pack off your body. Now, personally, I don't use this, but it definitely can be used if you want to use it, and it is an effective feature. I just personally think that it's easier to just go ahead and take the pack off and pull the gear out that way. So that is the main interior compartment for this pack, but what's really great about this backpack, especially if you're a wildlife photographer or a landscape photographer who hikes out into the woods and needs to carry in, you know, some outdoor gear as well, is that you have a huge secondary pocket where you can put any of that kind of stuff. In here, you have multiple different pockets, including a 15-inch laptop sleeve and a 10-inch tablet sleeve if you want to carry those around. And you can see that you have ample storage space in here if you want to put in some snacks, maybe an extra couple of layers in case it gets cold. Whatever you want to put in here for your hike, you can store in here while you have your camera gear in the main compartment, and you can take this pack out and essentially carry everything that you need for a day hike out into the wilderness to photograph wildlife or landscapes right here in this one backpack, which is another really awesome feature of this pack. And even if you're not taking this out into the wilderness, it is another place that you could also store more camera gear if you need a little more space. Next, moving on to the exterior, you can see that we have these two massive pockets on either side of the backpack, which are really great for storing stuff like water bottles or trekking poles in, or if you decide to store your tripod on the side, you can put those in there as well, and then you have these straps at the top that help hold it in. On top of that, you've got these daisy chain loops on the back side. You've also got two more pockets on the exterior, one small one on the top, and then another one right here on the back. So as you can see, there are a lot of great features with this backpack, and obviously I'm a pretty big fan of it, but it does come with a pretty high price tag. Prices vary depending on the store, but for this pack, generally you're going to be be paying around $300 for it. But the way that I look at it personally is that if you're carrying around thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars worth of camera gear, isn't it worth it to invest a couple $100s into a good pack to make sure that that camera gear is well protected? It is a steep price, but to me personally, I would rather pay the $300 and make sure that my gear is very well protected than, you know, pay maybe $100 for a cheaper pack and then be carrying around thousands of dollars worth of gear in a pack that is a lot more susceptible to potential damage. So as you can see, this is a great camera bag for wildlife photography, and it can fit most of your wildlife camera gear while still remaining relatively small and not being difficult to carry around and a hassle to get into places. So with that, I hope you have found this video helpful and have enjoyed it, and I want to remind you to subscribe for that Alaska trip giveaway. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.